of lessons. In the event or at times when you failed and made mistakes, what did you do to overcome those mistakes and learn from those mistakes? Let's start with you, Ms. Chen.
You know, in government service, we're so attached with politics, politicians. And there came a time in my life that I reached so high, national president, diba? And a lot more. And then there came a time that I was a victim of politics, that my life changed. So one time I said, what will I do? Will I continue with government service and serve government and the public? Or will I be misled with the politicians doing something wrong with my life? And I said, no, I will have to finish my master's degree. I will continue with my doctorate degree and face the challenge. If one door closes, another door opens. Always remember that one. And keep in mind that there is always somebody better than you. No? Because if you are so boastful, then your life will lead nowhere. But if you accept that maybe I must have done something wrong, so do something right. I finished my degree. Mind you, a lot of schools asked me to teach in their schools. Not just in Bacolod, but all over.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to do practice teaching and show them my skills. Now I've been offered left and right. And even LGUs asked me to become their tourism officers. But you know, when you have a passion for your work and your job, you give the younger generation a chance to lead. And a lot of them have already become tourism officers, which I have recommended.
Wow.
You see? But always remember, the things that I did to outdo what I think it was a failure or somebody did fail me in such a time, I gained double. Why? Because when I graduated in my doctor's degree, my master's degree, a lot of invitations came.
Yes.
I became a part-time teacher in other schools. What others are earning, I am also earning. Aside from that, you get to be judge, you get to be a speaker of other places, you get to train. I became top 5 out of 25 in the national training. There's only 5 of us that was taken as senior tour guide trainers by the Department of Tourism. That's an achievement. And now we're giving it to TESDA to do the training. But you see, when you fail, don't just sit down there. Do something.
Yes.
Maybe the thing that you want is not for you. Try to look at the doors or the windows.
Yes.
They'll just open it and then here comes you. After a few years, I tell you, I can even sing on June 30, I survived.
Wonderful.
I will survive. That's all.
Yes.
I'm trying to practice that now. Yet, yeah. I am also thankful for the politicians who have done this to me because it led me to a better person.
Yeah.
And then I gained a lot. That's it.
Wonderful. From the lessons, from the encounters that we receive, sometimes you've got to decide how it will make you bitter or better. You decided to make you better. Wonderful. Diba? Miss Amy Grace.
Yes, it's very easy to say, just if you fall down, just stand up. But we also have to acknowledge that the moment that there is really tribulations and challenges, it is really very painful at that
Yes.
moment. You really could cry a lot. Sometimes you feel that there's no hope. That's really happening. So it's very easy. Like for now, maybe some of you there at the seat, it's just easy for you to say because you do not know what I'm going through. Yes, definitely, I understand. But especially when depression hits you, there's plateau. Especially when I turned out 23 or 24 years old, I had this quarter life crisis. Everybody would say I'm already on the self-actualization stage, but no, it's not true. I have already asked myself, like, what am I doing here? Why am I stagnant? Lord, like, help me, up to the point that I would really fall down on my knees in the shower area, not understanding I'm away from my family, no support system, I'm alone in Singapore, experiencing silent discrimination. You cannot have, even if you have the ability, but when there's no opportunity that comes your way, ability is nothing without opportunity.
Yes.
But you have to acknowledge that you don't control the opportunity. Opportunity that comes your way is favor,
True.
abundance, it's super abounding.
Yes.
And sometimes what you understand is that you will come and reach to the point that you would love problems. You invite, come, problem, bring it on. Why? Because you will understand that you're more loved. Why? Because when you fail, He wants you to prune you, to polish you.
Yes.
And when I encountered the story of a pearl, before it can become a pearl, my mom can understand this because she's in the reef industry, it has to be pierced. The oyster has to be pierced, and some chemical, it will transform it into a pearl. So during the time when I had that mindset that it's like looking at the children, because I was volunteering one of the biggest church in Singapore, the New Creation Church. Though I'm a Catholic, but I was welcome. I was the very first Filipino who became the pulpit teacher. There are like 75 or 100 3-year-old children in front of you. Every time I see them fall down, they just fall down, they just come back up. They neglect the pain. So what I do is that I always would think, if people throw dirt at me, if there's a grave prepared before me, all I have to do is just shake off the dust.
Wonderful.
Until such time I go out from the pit, instead of me staying in the pit. I would usually have this conversation with my father. We just recently had a car. All our lives I'm riding in a motorcycle, going to my duty office. So imagine I am in my nursing uniform, I'm in a motorbike with my father with my skirt. That's my life. Until such time I had 2 branches in Bacolod, I am still riding a tricycle. So the guards, people would usually stare at me, that the guards would usually give umbrella. I'm going down from the tricycle, and then I'm dressed up, but I'm going down from the tricycle because my family is really humble. My father's very simple. But of course, I am the one who's just dreaming for the family until such time. I'm the eldest in the family, by the way. So when you fail, my motivation is strong. My why is so strong.
Yeah.
I cannot really sulk or cry on a spilled milk because I have my family with me.
Yeah.
So when I at the age of 21, earning dollars and sending and the fulfillment of sending money and the chance of elevating the life of your family, and that's the very reason why I invested again on my second company, an international manpower company, because I want to pay it forward.
Yes.
To pay forward the benefit that was given to me being an overseas Filipino worker. Because one person given a good remuneration can save one family. So it can really help develop the country. It's also a nation building or para sa bayan na work. So during the time, if you're really going through something, if what you're going through is like, it's really impossible. I cannot be like you, Miss Amy. It's really impossible. My father's a construction worker, my mother's a housewife. I can barely go to school or such stories. When you keep the faith, I mean, if you were born poor, it's not our choice. It's not our fault. But if we die poor, it's already our choice. Maybe you would say,
Yes.
I'm a victim of circumstance, no opportunity that comes my way. So what you do is just maybe really more patience. Look into yourself. Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe you do not endure a little in discomfort in what you're doing, you escape. A little pain, you just shut down. Bigla na lang, magulpi na lang, ma-black na yun ang profile picture para, you know, ano nang ito po si mo? Amo na siya.
Yes.
Sometimes we are really attention seekers because we really need appreciation. That's human beings. Human as we are, regardless of what we do, we want to be appreciated. So, but if you want to be appreciated, become a successful testimony.
Yes.
You cannot be a resource speaker or you cannot be a source of inspiration if you're not an overcomer. So at the end of the day, whatever pain you go through, bear, just stand up. And at the end of the day, you will always be rewarded by jumping off the hurdle instead of going back.
That is wonderful. And I truly agree with that, no? With God's grace, your setback is actually a set up for you to rise above your situation, no? And if you don't have opportunities, perhaps you can create opportunities, di ba? You just got to open your eyes wide. Let's hear from Miss Maria.
For me, in the teaching profession, which I have come to love,
Yes.
there is not a lot of. It's not always happy. It's not
Yeah.
always fun. It's not
Right.
always love and all that. There are a lot of problems in the system where you're in the classroom, in the school. It's really a web. It's really a very wicked problem. This is the face of education. This is what I have come to learn being a public school teacher. That this whole system is really problematic, and you're put there, you're planted, placed in this school, and then sometimes you have that you feel like they're expecting you to make a change right away, but it's not always. That's not always the case because you're just one person in that whole system. And so there are a lot of times that I would feel very discouraged by simple things such as my teaching, the way that I relate with my students. There were times when I would question my own credibility. I would feel like my students would question my own credibility. And then I think other teachers would also relate here na it would also be reflected kapag ka merong observations, and you would really be so scared. But then there was one master teacher who told us that at the end of the day, all of these that you're doing, the most credible, the most important feedback that you would always have to seek first is those from your students.
Yeah.
So bakit mo ba ginagawa ang lahat ng ito? It's always for them. So, ayun, even if you're in the midst of all these crises, all these problems, we have in Teach for the Philippines this practice of reflection, wherein after all the turmoil and all the stress, we always look back at what happened. And instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to me? Just ask yourself instead, what is this teaching me?
Wonderful.
So,
that is true.
I think that's a better way of looking at the problem instead of finding yourself sa pagkabuhol-buhol ng problema. Ay tingnan mo, what can you do to contribute to this system? What can you do to make a difference so that others may also benefit from whatever you're doing?
Yes. Always find ways to learn from
Yes.
every difficult situation. Miss Len.
It's take a break. Maybe that's
So practical. Wonderful. Yes,
Yes.
that is so true.
yeah.
Yes.
So like what also the rest of the panel has already shared. It's okay to cry. It's
Yes.
okay to kaya na balang ang emotion mo bala i-feel mo gid.
Yes.
Yeah, savor the moment.
No shortcuts. It's a process.
So kung sakit.
Yes.
Baka mo na bala. Oo, ihibig mo siya, isyagit mo siya. If you feel like it's crazy, you know what, there's a lot of crazy happening in the world, so you're fine. So take a break. And then, I've had a lot of challenges, super personal life, professional life, friends, love, everything. Pero, it's gonna be difficult to fathom siguro, but you attract that to yourself, those challenges. At some point in your life, you made a decision that challenge you attracted. So if you're the one who attracted it, you're the one who can change it, right? Because you have the power over that challenge.
Yes.
Kaya ikaw pala na nagdala sa kaugalingon mo.
Ay, correct.
Diba? So, take a break. Wala man kaso, kung basiya ang meaning sa challenge, siya para ma-feel mo gid kung ano to ang mangin forgiving kind of person. Diba?
Yes.
So, take that and then, once you're over, once na niya ang pag-savor. After savor, move on man. Kaya doon ka arte na kung naka-savor ka na, next day, savor ka naman.
Yes.
There is a moment to savor and there's a moment to move on. Kaya kalaw, ay man na ang imuluha ang sipon,
Salamat.
mo.
Kag non-stop na, no?
Oo,
Hindi
pag
na healthy.
Hindi na nag-healthy. Doon ka sick na naya kung sige lang. So, move on and then be solution-oriented. Siguro, I think, like sa ako, nang nag-work gid, every time, pala may problema, maminsari ko na din niya, ano ni man, paano ni man, bisan gihibi, ako na, gapamangkot ko, ano ko ni siya pag-solve? What's the best way to deal with it? And then not in a way na, syempre, if someone has hurt you, bala in work or in any way, dumabalos ka, always shield yourself from that kind of attitude. Never think of revenge, Gidiaka. It will come back to you more than 77 times. As in. So always be kind. Be kind. Kill them with kindness. All the people that are mean to you, kill them with kindness. Okay, naman ang ginawa mo, Shell.
Thank you, Miss Miss Nelia. What should I do? Pagod like kung ikaw pinaka-last mo. I need to think I should say something different. Anyways, okay, I have here, remember that life's greatest lessons are usually learned at the worst times and from the worst mistakes.
Yes.
Go on.
True. Agree.
So this is it.
100%.
Ang ako niya understanding, Sina, if there's a problem, always remember that this is just a process of grinding. Grinding. You need to grind to shine.
Yes.
You know? Because this will gonna make you a better version of yourself. You will become a better person because of these mistakes. Because you want to learn from it. Hindi kay mistake, the was mistakes naman. Yung mo naman, di ba? Stupidity na yan, no? So, grinding you to become a better person. And another thought is also like maybe you ran too fast. That you no longer don't have the time to smell the flowers. You become insensitive to other people because you want to achieve, I want to achieve that one. I was like that before. And believe you me, it's no good. Don't run too fast, reflect.
Yes.
And I read this book a while, last week about enjoy the process. Because I'm always output-oriented. I become crazy, like, oh my God, I should come up with this. Millions, millions, millions. I'm not like that now. When my husband passed away last June, last year, I came to realize that finding one's purpose is important. And my husband was really a good man, you know. And you leave nothing in this world except your legacy. Your legacy is your good deeds to other people. And my way of actually understanding of like committing a mistake is also God wants you to step back. And He's trying to touch you. Come on, you need.
Yeah, wonderful.
Have you tried that?
Yeah.
Kung may
That is
problema na
so true.
tagani, si God na pangangitaon ta. Kung successful tagani, dayawon tang self, ta, myself, I, me, you, me, di ba? So it's about us, it's about we, about your existence in this world, how you inspire others, how you create positive impact to other people is very, very important.
Yes.
Try to become a better version of yourself. There is no perfect world.
Yeah.
Because we are all imperfect.
Yes.
But we can really do something to make this world a better place to each and every one of us.
That is true.
Okay, thank
Diba?
you.
Thank you so much. That is wonderful. If I would just recap what they have said, when you make a mistake, it is not the end of the world. Diba? Take time to process it. Learn from your mistakes. Do not repeat the same mistakes. And when it's time for you to cry, cry. Don't stop yourself, diba? However, after you have cried, you should decide if you have stumbled to pick up yourself and walk again. And go for that dream one more time. Diba? Kaya siling nila ko, no? Habang may buhay, may pag-asa. Diba? And then there's a season for everything. There's time for everything. And I truly agree with what Miss Nelly has said, that, hey, Remember God not only in times of trouble, but most importantly, remember and praise Him in times of victory. In that way, you are the testimony of His greatness. Diba? And so speaking of greatness, from our empowered women here, maybe I'll start with you this time. Miss Melia. There was one book I've read from Jim Collins. It is entitled From Good to Great. Good is the enemy of great. Because when you're good, that's fine with you. Sometimes you settle with mediocrity. But most of our guests here have achieved the level of greatness. That's why I started with you. Because you have not settled with being good, but you have become great. How have you achieved that level?
Thank you, Chari. I always believe in leadership with a heart. I always believe in that. I always believe in giving the things that I do for His glory. I always believe in that. Always be a better version of yourself. Give your best and always try your very best. If you are good, then push yourself a little bit more to become great. Right? Push. It's a push. But don't push and you also tend to destroy other people. Just be a better competition. I want to take up competition. Here, if you will be joining in the workforce, like in a corporate world, there's always a certain level of competition. You need to compare yourself with your colleagues in the workplace, no? Try to assess yourself. This is my capacity, my output today. I want to be a better next month, next week. So try to compete with yourself to become from good to become from better, good, then to become great. Just be a better version of yourself by giving your very, very best in everything that you do with a heart.
Yes, I'm beautiful with a heart all the time. Miss Len.
To contribute man to what Ms. Nell said, strive for your highest potential. Test yourself, challenge yourself, and then nourish your fellow. Be someone that could facilitate joy sa sina nga colleague or person. Always emit goodness, because there's a lot of not so good in the world. Yeah, so
That is so true.
so try to emit
Yes.
energy, it's very strong. If you come into a room and you bring negative energy, it's all gonna be subo and negative. So try to shake it off before getting into the room.
Yeah.
And kung kinanglan mo, like breathing is a good exercise. If you know there's a lot in the internet, I'm sure, that you can get about breathing exercises. You face the wall, face a plant or the air, and just breathe off all the negative energy before coming in. And amo na siya. Let's nourish each other and help each other. Spread chika, love in the world.
Not chica, that's for real.
Miss Marian.
To achieve greatness in the education sector, maybe, would be to always keep in mind that you're never alone.
Yes.
You always have the people around you to help you wherever you are. You have your classmates, you have your co-teachers, you have your friends, you have your students. They are always with you in your journey as you achieve greatness. Well, that also depends on what your definition of greatness is. Diba? So I think you should also start with that
Correct.
first.
Because it's relative. Diba?
Yes.
Success for one may not be success for another person. Greatness for this person might just be mediocrity for someone. So, define your level of
Yes.
greatness first para hindi ka ma-lost, no? Thank you. Miss Amy Grace.
Well, on the entrepreneur side of you, all of you would say, I'll save up because I wanted to have a business. If not all, but maybe most of you wanted to become a business-minded person or a businessmen and women. But to become an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to pay the price. It's not financial freedom and time freedom alone. It's all the more you would want to become an employee when you're in the business. Why? Because your overheads never stop.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to pay the price. You're ready to turn back from the crowd. They always say it's lonely on top because you will always be misunderstood. Because people would usually see the peak of the iceberg. They do not see the depth. What are the things that has been invested? You see me walk with grace, but you never see my 2 feet paddling really, really hard. Before I came here, I had no sleep. I had to write my speech because early tomorrow I'll be flying after this interview in Manila because I'm going to have a commencement speech in LCC Pasig tomorrow. I had to write my speech from 2 a.m. to 5 because that's the only time I can insert what I wanted to say. Though it was given to me prior, there are things that you sacrifice. Like I'm at the age of 31, I'm still not married. I still have not married.
Congratulations!
I'm still not married because there are things that you know how to prioritize. It was documented in Spectrum article in 2008. If you can see it in the library, my interview was documented when it was entitled Nursing My Leadership Skills. Because I was the very first nursing student government president and the very first from the opposition side. So it made history. Sa Malaya Sages.
Kausap.
Yes, I'm sorry. But during that time, I said to myself, there is 5 Ds. Determination, discipline, dedication, and 4, I think, devotion. I'm sorry, delaying gratification, it's really 5. I recall, it's only by now I recall what I've said. But delaying gratification in a way where everyone was going outside, thinking what to do next, where to tambay. But here you are doing things for this institution. Like I'm a nurse, being a president. Imagine my life. My duty hours is like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I have night shifts. But there's like sports fest, there are different things. I was not an absent president. Up to a point, my parents would say, what did you do? You go to school not to enslave yourself. But at the end of the day, I know that there is something that I will get out of this. If you want to become successful, there are things that you are willing to set aside.
Yes.
You're willing to sacrifice. You cannot just dream without paying the price.
True.
There are things that you need to pay forward, sacrifices. You will be killjoy. Ay, hindi ka naman mag-upod lang. No, dira ka naman. When you saw the graduation photos, you're always absent at the photos. But at the end of the day, in all of our batches who graduated in 2008, I was the first one who went abroad, but not as a nurse. So during the time, you see your classmates going out overseas, and here you are going home, planting your seed. I'm already starting my business here in the Philippines at the age of 27 years old. It was all a risk. But because you wanted to maintain that greatness in the most humbling sense,
Yes.
to be a person who does not settle for less, to excel is always a choice.
True.
You have to remember, the lack of faith in yourselves is the one that's causing you. Let me just end it with this quote that I really love from Nelson. He quoted this from a book, but Nelson Mandela usually shared this. He's a liberator and a great leader. He said, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is not our light. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frighten us. We are so afraid to shine. We are so afraid because we don't want people to be insecure around us. If you want to be great, be ready to turn back from the crowd because you're no longer at the level of pleasing people.
True.
That's why, be ready to be misunderstood. Be ready to people who not understand you because you're already on the level where you do not want them to understand you, but let them see your results. So I think if you want to be great, learn already how to sacrifice.
Yeah.
As I've said, do what you can with what you have where you are, because you'll always be rewarded.
That
Thank
is
you.
beautiful, man. Diba? Yes, Miss.
Wow.
Miss Jen.
Achieving greatness, no?
Yes.
To be great is to be able to manage yourself. Manage your time. Don't just focus on one thing. Always remember to be connected. Connected with your friends, your family, with the Lord up there, and the community as well. Do your share. As they say, in a point that I have been memorizing since grade 5, and maybe it has been my guide also in life. It says, life is what we make it. It can be grand and sweet. It can be bitter and sad depending on how you live. Life is a test for patience, a challenge for youth, a battle of wits or conscience where only the smartest can boast. But no matter how simple our life is, if love and true fellowship reign, it is God in His infinite wisdom who gave us a life to live.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Bottom line, it is always about God, yourself. No? At any point in your life, sometimes you feel like you're not in the race. You're left behind because some of your classmates were already working, like you've mentioned, Miss Amy Grace. No, some are although they have already settled. You think you're left behind? No, you're not in a race. Diba? You're not in a race. You are not competing with others. You compete with yourself. If you think, oh, I think I'm faulty, remember that God does not make mistakes. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. So always remember that when you have already that dream in your heart, go for it. Don't take no for an answer. If one dream does not happen, go find another dream. Di ba? Pwede. Hindi pwede nga isa lang ang dream mo in your life. Pwede. May option 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why gani may infinite nga number. Di ba? So I think it's about time for you to open up. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you have points of view that you'd like to share with us. No? Anyone has questions from the audience? From questions for our women here? None? Okay. So, if you don't have questions, maybe, ang inyo yung, before I ask for your final message, allow me to ask from each one of you para mag-guidean ni sila. Kaya ginabalanta na nga, when do you know that you've found the right career? Diba? So, for each one of you, how do you know that you're already there? You don't need to shift careers anymore. You don't need, okay, basig may amo pa ni, when can you say you're already happy with your career? Is it because of the pay? Because you haven't tackled the pay? Does it pay well enough? Can it sustain you and your family? What career gives you the best that you deserve in life? Let's start with you, Miss Jen. When do you say that your career is already the career for you? Perhaps you can share with us if it is paying you enough, if it can sustain you, your family, and the
Okay.
rest of the things that you want in
When
life.
I was in college, my mother asked me to take nursing. I was at least the luckiest. Out of 1,000, there were 200 of us who passed. But I was not so focused when I was in first year college. I had a boyfriend, I wanted to participate in a beauty pageant, all those things that were not part of nursing. And then, I had a contract with my mom. I said, just let me continue with my 3 years. I'll just have to shift with mass comm, which I love most. So I took up mass communication. And while I was studying, I was arranging for my classmates' tours. And eventually, I landed as the first employee of the tourism office in government. But before that, when I graduated, I took up the civil service exam. Of course, you don't get into the government without the civil service exam. Professional, I passed, luckily, and I applied. But the one that I applied for was not for tourism. And maybe I was good that they called me for another job to be part of the governor's office until I became a pioneer staff of the tourism office. Then I loved my job. I couldn't even count the days that I was absent because I was more staying in the office than at home. Even when my kids were growing up. It was my husband taking care of them Well, I was so in love with my job. So, if you tell me, when is the time that you learn that you really love your job and you don't really want to transfer anymore? Of course, when you're so fulfilled. Sometimes the pay doesn't matter. But of course, as you grow up, when your children reach college and high school, you would say, oops, I need already to earn. Then you develop yourself. You add for another degree. And then you work, but still in tourism. So I was so focused in tourism that I fell in love with the tourism industry and my job. But of course, you have to have a fallback, which is tour guiding and being a teacher. Now that I am into this, in the peak of my career, you no longer want higher positions like what you wanted 5 years ago. It is the self-fulfillment of being able to train your generation to be a part of the government service. We need you in government because we need more teachers. We need more engineers. We need more honest people in government. Those who manages and are able to follow the law. Because when you're in government, you have to follow the law. You have to time in 8 and go out 5 or work. Magtatrabaho ako ng lagpas sa takdang oras kung kinakailangan. That's the oath that we take every Monday morning. And today, I'm reaching the age of 50. I can say that I'm fulfilled because a lot of people took tourism because they saw me in the industry. There are a lot of students, there are neighbors, may pamangkins. They took up tourism. I didn't even take tourism. But when you are able to, it's like a disease that's contagious. No? So when you are able to bring a lot of people to love the industry, then that is what you call as fulfillment.
Wonderful. Fulfillment. Miss Amy Grace.
Your question is, how would you know when
Yes,
you're
you're
there?
already there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You
think
have
I can only
arrived.
say it in theory because there's no formula to success or there's no one formula for everything. There's diverse desires. I think that's the beauty of diversity and the uniqueness because each of us are given different desires because not all of us wanted to become lawyers at the same time or doctors. So your journey is also very unique. So on my end, I will be in theory only because I am still not there. The only problem with me is that, as they say, crazy people change the world, and I'm a bit crazy woman. I think that's why empowered women are difficult to handle, as what they say.
Yes.
Because I do not settle. I mean, meaning to say, for example, if I've overcome the challenge, I only want to have one branch. It was really very good and fulfilling. And then all of a sudden you wake up, I wanted to have 2. Now I have 2 in Bacolod, 1 in Puerto Princesa, and currently constructing 1 office in Iloilo, and we'll be starting in Manila as well for Brain Train alone. So, and then after having Brain Train, you're supposed to be very contented already with one industry. Another opportunity came, and I grabbed it, and then I love the challenge. Now, I finished Masters in Business Administration. Actually, I do not need further studies because I'm not going to be really in a mainstream teaching, but I'm just invited to teach on a certain subject. Like in San Agustin, I was teaching principles of marketing as a guest teacher, and that's actually it's just for fun for me to understand the journey of a teacher because I'm not really a teacher by profession. So then after that, another challenge came, and I have this office in Manila. Wow, a province girl. It's a big deal for me because I'm from Bacolod, and I'm installing an office in Ross Boulevard in front of the U.S. Embassy. Wow, where is she getting her capital? I did not sleep with a rich man. Don't worry. And that's why I'm single. All of this I do not know where it is coming from. Opportunities came, remuneration, it's not remuneration, the profit just comes out. But if your business is not founded with a strong why and passion, it will not survive a day. there's like 500,000 businesses opening all over Philippines. Startup is easy, but sustaining the business is the difficult one. So for you to understand if you're there, I'm the one who loves challenges and I have not seen yet my limit. That's why this time I'm going to do the impossible again, running through businesses and enrolling myself into law school. And I journey with people, I share to my friends, I share my ideas. My life is an open book. I know that my life is being transformed as a testimony of God's greatness. So when He tells me, you're fine now, stop, go settle down and get married, then I think that's the time I'm there. Because one judge, when I was judging in LaSalle, she was saying to me, I think she's dean of Pope John Paul Marriage Center, and she told me when we were judging, she found out I was 30 at that time. She said, "You're very young. Are you married?" I said, "No." She said, "Wow, that's very difficult. Because the more that you marry at a later age, the more that you have to sacrifice. The more that you're supposed to sacrifice." And I said, I think if I'm married, I will not be able to mother an infant and a 3-year-old. Because Spring Train is only 3 years, so it's a toddler.
Yeah.
And my golden she is still an infant. So I am still a mother of an infant and a toddler. So I may not be able to balance 2 families. Yeah. So I think that's the thing. You will never know when you're there, not until you feel
Yes.
that it's really the end.
Thank you, Miss Aria.
Just like Miss Amy, disclaimer lang, I don't think I'm at my greatest yet.
Yes.
But
Still a journey.
yes, I'm still in the process of learning, journeying. But I think compared to the other jobs that I've had before I entered Teach for the Philippines, this work that I do, teaching children, it's a kind of job that I don't seem to tire from. It's a kind of tiredness that, oo, nakakapagod siya physically, but then, nandun pa yung puso mo that you can still wake up the next morning to do whatever it is you need to do, to wake up at 5 a.m. again, to grade the papers, to talk for hours and hours in front of a class. And I think that's one indicator of having found a job that you truly love doing, truly finding your passion in life. And so, on this journey to greatness, I hope that for everyone also, that I hope that whatever dreams that you have, whatever hopes that you may have, you may also find the joy in bringing with you the hopes and dreams of other people. Because it's when you're also leading other people to discover their own dreams, to also discover their own potentials. Like in my case, my kids, my students, that's where greatness also lies.
Yes.
So sana, hopefully you would also bring with you the dreams of our students, because this is what I've discovered as being a teacher, that when you become a teacher, it becomes a commitment, and then your dreams are not only your own anymore. They also now include the dreams of your students, the hopes of every Filipino child that you are representing.
Yeah, very true. Thank you. Miss Leanne?
It's a very difficult question. How do you know when you're there?
Yeah, well, ano na,
Yeah.
you're right.
Wala pa ko na.
Okay. Very good, because you know you're not there yet, di ba? Yes.
The best is yet to come.
Yes.
Pero kabalo ko, I know that I am joyful with what I'm doing. So, one of the measure that I've learned in this journey, in working life na, other than the student life, some 15 years ago, is that you need to be joyful. So, not only happy, but there's really joy in what you're doing, and you emit that joy. So, I also have that joy taking care of my 7-month-old son. So it's like right now I'm like thinking, oh, do I still really want to do this work in the NGO sector, which I really, really love. And I'm really lucky that the work environment sa NGO welcomes working mothers.
Yes.
So I can bring my child anywhere, anytime.
That's
In
true.
our work, even when you're rescuing wildlife or whatever, or doing disaster response, you can bring your child. So I mean, be kind to your baby also. So, but to know that if this is already the it of career, I don't know yet. I'm so young pa for that, and I'm still willing to discover a lot of things and give my heart and energy into things that matter. So we'll see. But right now, I'm really joyful and thankful.
Thank you. Miss Marian.
Kabudlay ko pumagot, but I love the question. It's actually like finding your purpose, siguro. No? So, they have difficulty because they are millennials, so they have difficulty of answering that question. Kami naman yung 50s na. Me, but you are younger than me, Jenny, no? So, I'm into my 50s, so I'm revisiting already. So, it's finding your purpose. I will tell you my little secret. I'm supposed to become a nun.
Ah, di ba?
Yeah. Because of that meeting of that sperm and the egg. Yeah. You know why? I tend to ask myself, what is my purpose of being alive? That is the essence. Why I am alive. I am alive to serve my God. But since I am the only girl in the family, I have 2 younger siblings, boys, and the eldest. So the dreams and aspirations, siguro iba na sa inyo ba si maamuman sa akon? No? The dreams and aspirations of my parents focus on me. Abay, sige, magmadri-madri, kada karoon kayo mga manggod mo mapari, yung mana. Sili ko, well, but you cannot enter without the permission of your parents. So what had happened is, ako, okay, God, I want to marry you because I want to give my life to you. That is my ultimate goal in life. To make my God happy of who I am in this universe. To make Him proud of me, and one day, you know. So what had happened is, okay, I said, when my parents said, no, you cannot enter. Sabi ko, okay God, I negotiated to Him. If you will not give me my dream of becoming a nun, give me a husband. If not a doctor, a lawyer. Yeah, of course. No less.
Yes.
That's my benchmark. And God gave me a lawyer husband. Kag super palangga pagit ko. No? So, we're blessed with 4 children. They are all professionals, and I believe they're also impacting, positive impact to other people. They're really good children. And they're also ambitious and dreamer just like me. And what made me realize that this career is for me? Because since I am 21 years old, I am already with the Kiwanis. It's an organization, it's a civic organization within which we help the less fortunate. So there's a continuity of my dream to practically give back to the community. I will tell you, these young people right now, it's easy for you to have this mental illness about depression. You know, you are fantasizing about, I'm depressed. You know, if you're depressed, you better look around, and try to join a civic organization within which you can meet people lesser than yourself. Then you will be grateful.
Yes.
Have you tried that? You're still blessed. Because there are even people who can't eat 3 square meals a day. So, finding your purpose, and in the job that I do right now, I am touching people's lives. Millennials, who I am changing ordinary people into become extraordinary. They're also touching people's lives. I had one agent who is like 18 years old when he first joined Manulife, and now he's already a millionaire. Okay? So if you want to ask me further about that, come to me. And talk to people down there, people connected to Manulife. So, finding your purpose. You're touching people's lives, you're making a difference, you make this place a better place. And we advocate educating Filipino people towards financial independence. And that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, diba? Wow! I just realized it has been 2 hours that we're talking here. And congratulations, you are all ears to our empowered guests here. Diba? Thank you very much. Have you learned something? Very good. So, your message to our audience here. Perhaps what would be the key takeaways that you would like to impart with them? Let's start with you, Miss Jen.
Coming from the government service, it is not at all a bed of roses. But it is your positive outlook in life and your knowledge that would help you, especially your skills. And remember, your attitude towards life, work, and the community would be a great help. Because they say 85% attitude, 15% skills. So it is now your attitude that you have to change if it is bad, to develop it if it is already there.
Thank you very much. Very well said. Thank you, Miss Jen. Miss Amy Grace.
Yes, for all of you, just be an edge. Edge for me is everyday great example. So in everything that you do, you just make sure that you exude your best. And in your heart, you have to just make sure that you follow your passion because you will not work a day. So you are paid for a purpose, you're paid with your passion, and all you have to do is just never give up. Because you know when there's just this illustration where the person was trying to mine, and then the moment that he feels so tired, but when you look at the illustration, he's almost there. He's almost at the end of the mine. He's about to get the goal, but you just stop midway. So what you do is that you make sure that you're always an everyday great example. And for me, I always use this hashtag think different. Think different means in a way where, for example, in an interview, if you're going to go for an interview, there will be 150 of us. I'll anticipate what their answers are. And I'll make sure that I'll be unique. That's what Mom is doing. She's making sure that the moment the mic comes to her, she has to say something different. Because why? You want to stand out. You're born to stand out, not to just crowd this or overpopulate the world. You're here because you are supposed to stand out. So when everyone is just standing out, I think I just cannot believe that this Philippines will just become the best country to live with. That's I think what we're doing now. It's just simply giving that attitude of becoming an everyday great example.
Wonderful. Everyday great example. Edge. Miss Mario.
I was just like one of you sitting right there not too long ago, and I know it's a really hard process of looking within yourself, saan ba ako magaling ba talaga ako, and what do I love, what can I do. So I hope that you consider I hope that you also consider going into education, because education really is one of the core solutions of everything that we have here in our country. And education always needs advocates. We're in Teach for the Philippines. We are a movement of different sectors, from the government, from private offices, from business organizations, and from the Department of Education. And I know all of you here are all leaders, and I hope that you can also, from your own leadership journey, I hope that you can also include there the journeys of other students, the hope of our Filipino nation. And always remember that in choosing whatever you do, always go back to your whys. And hopefully, it is also the same as ours. Hashtag para sa bata, para sa bayan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Miss Marian. Miss Len.
Maybe it's very hard na for you to listen to all of this wisdom for the last 2 hours. But really, you're so blessed to be here and listening to it right now. For me, it's really just short. Be aware, be conscious. That's a lot of people in the world are just. There was a time in my life na siling ko kadamo ito sa mga sleepwalkers galangkat sa dalan nga wala hindi sila aware bala sang effect sang ilang nga ginahimo gahaboy lang sa kilid sang basura nang hindi bala conscious gahambal sang hindi namin isaya nga fellow. So it's difficult to be aware with all the many different challenges Pero if we try it to be more conscious of the impact of our footprints but in our life, in the life of others, it's really meaningful. And yes, gito sa be part of a civic group. It can wake you up even more.
Wonderful. Thank you. Miss Nelia.
Okay, I want you to remember the word hot.
Yes.
Hot. Are you hot? Doesn't yes. Okay, humility, obedience, and be teachable. Empty your cup so that the blessing will come in. Find your purpose. No? That's the bottom line, the value of what we're doing here. Find your purpose. Know your why. Why you do what you do. Bakit ba gumising ako ngayong umaga? You just try to know the reason why you are alive today and what's the reason why you need to work hard. Be extraordinary. Don't be just normal, ordinary person. You should have that added value. Added value to other people so that you will become good to great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to all of our empowered guests here. No, you've heard them from different sectors, from government service, from being an entrepreneur, teacher, from the non-government organization who is in charge of the Lugan Island, and of course from the financial industry, from sales. So perhaps your eyes are now wide open into the opportunities that await you. It just takes you to decide which career is best suited for you. So once again, thank you, Miss Jeneline Cordero, Miss Amy Grace, Miss Marian, Miss Nen, and of course, Miss Nelia Nemenzo. Let's give them a big round of applause. And of course, to all of your audience, thank you so much for lending us your ears. We hope and pray that you are able to learn from our discussion, and may this guide you to really take on the path that is set for you. Remember, all of you were created special and unique. Do not compare yourselves with others. Do not boast. Each one of you has a destiny to take and a destiny to follow. It's up to you to take that. Be courageous. Appreciate what you have. And the bottom line, know your why. Live your purpose. Thank you so much for watching. It's Time with Shari and for being here with us. Congratulations to the Office of CEA, Center for External Affairs, of course headed by Mr. Roderick Samonte and his staff for this. Thank you so much to Angela for coordinating with me. Don't forget, anything worth doing is worth doing well. God bless us all. I'm Shari Hineri Ilon, your host for It's Time with Shari. Thank you.